Welcome, sir. I do hope you enjoy yourself.
Enjoy the event, sir.
May I ask you something? I have nothing to hide, sir, but I've never heard of this. Is this familiar to you?
I can't help you with that, sir.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Want to go somewhere more private? Want to go somewhere more private?
Sherlock! Friend! I wasn't sure you'd come.
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. A time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, and something to smoke, or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual, a potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
My mind already operates at a far higher level than most. I struggle to believe anything could improve it. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
I am perfectly capable of coping with myself without medical assistance.
Then I shall press you on it no further. But please do not refuse my gift. Take it with you as a souvenir of this special night.
Souvenir of what, exactly? But, all right, if only to put the matter to bed.
And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
Pardon? Altar room? What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute. Let Fabio speak for himself.
Look, I'm an outlaw.
Let me know if you need anything, sir.
Manchio's had to enforce the masks after the scandal. Manchio's had to...
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists. My goodness, Sherlock. They made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Cahors at a guess?
One of these books must open a secret passage. I know.
Well-known and recent plays to keep up to date with the current trends. These medieval botany and chemistry books look even more satanic than the occult ones. Romantic poetry and prose. Someone's in touch with their feelings. Codex Orchis. Why does this occult book sound like a flower?
Curtains do not guarantee privacy.
And you still need a crack, despite being ethereal.
I'm coming, Sherry. Just give me another second.
Do you know what was here before Manchio's family bought it? Do you know what was...
I'll pin them down with this scoop. Thank you, Sherlock.
Vogels's gallery has a backer, I see.
My God. Was he here this whole time?
The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. This oil has a slight aroma of flowers and olive. The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly. This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. This crude tattoo partially covers a slave branding. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. A blunt force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it. The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. He died right here. Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion. Why don't people tidy up after themselves? An open wound spoiled the carpet. Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened. The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain. Identical to the robes the guests are wearing. This is a different ritual.
How can anyone accept such behaviour?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
Would you recognise me in one of these? I suppose not.
Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains. Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set. Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Then pull yourself together, Werner. What is it about these nights that you were so eager to share with me?
Well, they're not always in the evenings, but they are in the shadows. People gather to test their boundaries in a safe and consensual atmosphere, often with more stains than your typical crime scene. But that is the point. Who are we to judge?
I suppose that's fair. What about today, then? Was anything different?
Well, I was invited as a special guest. It was supposed to be a time of both divine and carnal pleasures. A scratch for every unconventional itch.
I imagine you're reeling from your shattered expectations.
On the contrary, there is still spectacle, stimulation, and release, merely in a different form. I like to let life entertain me.
Or death. Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then we were...
Filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty was the talk of the island. Too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance, and more.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil... Not this travesty that seems straight out the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh, yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer, too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio. You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
Do not distract me. It's not easy to play blindfolded.
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock. You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. A bloody handprint on an armchair. The wounded person was here for some time. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. 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 You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. 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 You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here. I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
I know you can untangle this mess.
The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand and apologise for the inconvenience. You're...
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
Perhaps we can negotiate. I could be quite useful.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
Back on track to solve the case.
Look, I found Werner.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeyed?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope. I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes. I know I can handle the news.
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. The new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first. You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true laborers, I see. Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
I know you can untangle this mess.
Could you help me?
I can't help you with that, sir.
Are you able to help me?
A solid question, sir, but I don't have the answer.
Are you able to help me?
Nothing I can tell you, sir, but others might know more.
Time to check your who, what and what, Sherry. Who are you asking, about what and dressed as what?
Would you like to report a crime?
So much work, so little time.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. Not the time for privacy. An emergency kit for boredom. Werner's personal sketchbook. This Ex Libris belongs to Manchios Library. That's not for bedtime reading. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Her key to the altar room. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Thank you, officer.
So much work, so little time.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
You can question Mr. Pinchetti in the interrogation room.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these. Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds. You are the majordomo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide under heavy makeup a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
I do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Did you know Fab?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always, Fabio-centric?
And Matista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a majordomo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a majordomo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship. Please let me out.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchot.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protégé wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high. I've no idea about that. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him. I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him. You'd better ask someone else.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood, and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
I've nothing to add. I don't know what to say.
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchot?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
I can't go back to prison.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Please let me out.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
This area is restricted.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
This area is restricted.
I know I can handle the news.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Please let me out.
I can't go back to prison.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Please let me out. Please let me out.
Are you done yet? Can I leave? I know you can untangle this mess.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Are you able to help me?
Excuse me? What? I'm not sure I know.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers. Continue our investigation while I look for the papers. Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
early 60s,
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
The young performer played with your emotions. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way you would have liked. You wanted to be loved. Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You struck him, and then you staged the ritual. You planted the letter in Vogel's pocket and attempted to set up Matista.
What poppycock? Sherlock, stop this game now.
There is no stop word, Mr. Manchios. Relax and enjoy it. I'll pass the remainder of this case to Constable Oswald. He'll know what to do with you.
I can't believe you dared to accuse me.
I have a name for you. Kurt Manchios.
Is that so? The Master of the Sabbath?
The man himself. Mr. Manchios couldn't stand to lose control over his lover. A deadly revenge that deserves a proper sentence. I have all the evidence to charge him.
A degenerate and a murderer. I'll make a name thanks to that for sure. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable. Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity. And it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
I take your point. There are some limits on us all, some compromises we must make. Despite my best efforts, we cannot remain entirely objective.
I didn't want to sadden you, Sherlock, only to make you think beyond your boundaries. You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu. Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed.
It was the best decision I could obtain.
By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother?
Oh, yes. It's a struggle, but yes, we can make our own decisions. That's what I fight for.
And what an endless fight it is. Will you ever give yourself a break, Sherlock? You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry, like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain? And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
John, my animum, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just... please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on. We'll go together. Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good. That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London, correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, it didn't survive. Ah, yes. The statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. Pity she never had the opportunity to finish.
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right? What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Is that the raft we made together, John?
Looks more like a pile of rotten planks now.
Don't go, Mother, wait! I remember this artifact from Mother's collection. Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
Here it is. We'll just borrow it for a while.
Did you hear that? Someone's coming. Let's take a peek. You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
Sherry, come here, darling. I'm waiting for you.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me?
Sherry,
you're scaring me.
Come here, darling. Sherlock, I'm here. Come closer.
Coming, Mother! This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed. Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea. Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No! Don't you dare say such things! You are a liar like all the others!
Mother!
Don't call me that! You aren't fooling me!
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie!
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please, stop! It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry! Give me my stuff, I can't stop you!
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry.
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
I killed my own mother, John. It is unforgivable.
It was an accident, Sherlock. She was mad, abusive. You were a child, simply trying to help.
How could she? You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it. There is only one thing to be done.
What are you talking about?
To expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to fail to hold oneself likewise accountable, it would be hypocrisy. My mother died by my hand. I must turn myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions? You were a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges. If you're lucky, they'll simply exile you. If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
Are you going to berate me too? Try and talk me out of it? As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking...
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself? How do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try, that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder. Tell me, John, why?
Because you're breaking my heart. I know. You've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted. You'll always be a part of me.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Werner? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project. You really are beautiful.
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest. I prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me, pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now, I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island, to Mother, to John. What was her life worth? How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything? I found it! I found it! I found it!
And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken, and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours, and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for rout?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.
Sherry.
John, my animal, my brother, there... Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good. That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London. Correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, it didn't survive. Is that the raft we made together, John?
Looks more like a pile of rotten planks now.
That's from Mother's favourite tea set. What is it doing in here?
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Don't go, Mother, wait! I remember this artifact from Mother's collection. Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
Here it is. We'll just borrow it for a while.
Did you hear that? Sherlock's coming. Let's take a peek.
You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
Sherlock, I'm here. Come closer. Sherry?
Coming, Mother!
Come here, darling.
This was from my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed. Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea. Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No! Don't you dare say such things! You are a liar like all the others!
Mother!
Don't call me that! You aren't fooling me!
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie!
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please, stop! It's me, Sherlock!
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry.
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up. Whisked me away from this place, buried me in schoolwork, and left the past to rot.
And you needed a way to cope, so I helped.
You were a lie, John, a fiction, a crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
Sherlock, what are you doing?
You kept me in the dark and kept your actions quiet. You enabled Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. And worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of dwelling in the past.
It was lies upon lies. Otto Richter was trying to save her, but you decided he deserved to take the fall. Is that justice?
The big picture, Sherlock. The big picture. Perhaps Richter was not responsible for her fit of rage, but his treatment led inexorably to that moment. You were so fragile. I could not... I just couldn't. I chose us over him.
You know, for once I believe you. Perhaps now that the truth is out, I can actually do what you had hoped. Leave it all in the past.
Good. You have your whole life ahead of you, Sherlock. It is time you got on with it.
I was worried there for a minute, Sherry. Really worried. I didn't want to hurt you. What's so funny?
I am talking to myself, John. I think I was hurt regardless.
But we made a good team, eh? Explored every inch of this place together. Helped a lot of people. Terrorized a few too, I suppose. I think I may go so far as to say, Sherry, that I have not lived wholly in vain.
So that's it. It's over.
You've opened every door, Sherry. Faced the past you locked away. You don't need me anymore.
I know. I will miss you all the same. I don't want you to go.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye, John. Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a book.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Werner? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project. You really are beautiful.
My brother returned to London soon after our disagreement. He enrolled at Cambridge University, but attends only the rare classes that hold his interest. I hear he took employment at a hospital laboratory, obsessing over his experiments. I suppose he seeks solace in the empirical truth of a chemical test. I am afraid for him. His evenings are spent alone, solving citizens' menial mysteries to pass the time. And I suspect he is growing paranoid. One of my agent's vehicles recently ignited during a surveillance operation. She was lucky to get out alive. There is only one man who could orchestrate such a feat. Or perhaps two. I saved my brother. He will never forgive me.
I found it!
And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken, and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours, and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for rouse?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.